Hi, I'm Tom Glassman, and I've been photographing for well over 40 years. And I'm here with a few quick tips on how you can immediately start taking better photographs, whether you're an old pro or you're trying to master a new DSLR for the first time, or even if you only shoot with a cell phone. And the way we're going to do this is to look at two or three different photographs and discuss why they work, why they don't, composition, and more. My goal is to get you in and out quickly so you can spend more time shooting and less time watching me. So let's get started. Morning. What we're going to do today is talk about three images. The first image up is of a mural in Ashland, Oregon. The mural is of Guanajuato, which is their sister city in Mexico. Obviously, everyone takes a shot of the mural, and it's pretty big, and where you have to stand is right up in front of it. So even with a wide-angle lens, you're not able to get the whole thing. It's an image that's been done to death by just about everyone. What I did in this case was I went across the creek and shot the mural through the trees. So what I'm trying to capture here is sort of an interesting series of layers, a layer of branches or sort of a riot of chaos of things going on with the mural in the background. The way I shot this, and this is pretty important actually, I had to use a manual focus on my lens, and I focused on a part of, any part of the mural. So I would make sure that the mural was in focus and tack sharp. Then when I took the shot, and in this case, and this is how I do just actually most of all my shots, I'm on a tripod. I choose the aperture I want, aperture priority. That's the A setting. And in this case, I wanted a middle aperture because the middle aperture on a lens, even on a consumer lens, as well as on a professional lens, is what's going to give you the sharpest detail. It's going to let the lens perform at its optimum quality. In this case, I was at the middle aperture. I was focused on the mural in the background, and because the branches were right in front of me, I knew they were going to be kind of fuzzy, a little bit out of focus, which is okay, because I want the eye drawn to the actual colors and the patterns and of the image of the mural itself. The branches, I didn't mind being fuzzy because if they were tack sharp, your eye would stop there and you wouldn't progress onto the image. Again, with autofocus, it probably couldn't find an area of the mural to focus on. So that's why I went to manual focus. Used a polarizer to make sure the colors were saturated. And this is a case where many of you might not think it's a good time for shooting. This was a gray overcast day. That meant there were no harsh shadows or anything going on. And so it's pretty even lighting and nothing to distract. What I was looking for in this case, when I take a photograph, I say, what is calling out to me? Why am I taking this photograph? In this case, it was just a series of layers of stuff that would create an interesting pattern or image, and people would say, what the hell is going on? So that's this image here. Let me show you another one along the same lines. This next one is in eastern Washington. It's called the Palouse, and this is some contour farming. Again, what I look for in an image, if you don't have a great farmhouse or silo or something going on, or this gorgeous old tractor, this was a case where it was just a series of patterns and shapes and colors. And that makes for a great viable photograph. Think about all the sunsets people take. It's just colors and patterns. So in this case, I was driving along very slowly, about 20 miles an hour, for almost 25 minutes, waiting until I saw the right confluence of lines of black and white and green. I think the green's winter wheat. The black's where they burn the field. This was March. It was kind of a overcast, bleach washed out kind of day, which worked nicely. Because if this had been a blue sky in the background, it might have been interesting, but probably wouldn't work as well. In this case, I set up a tripod again. I'm on the street. My wife wouldn't be happy about that, except this was in the middle of nowhere, so I didn't worry that much about traffic. And I went to the middle aperture for the sharpest possible quality. And I knew in this case, I wanted to focus here because your eye would start here and kind of progress backwards. So unlike the image of the mural in Ashland, where I wanted the background to be sharp and not to have the foreground sharp where your eye would stop there, I focused here. I wanted this sharp. And then I stopped down, maybe a stop, to have the next 2 or 3 layers relatively sharp. So it'd be interesting. Your eye would progress in. And then I knew the background could kind of get fuzzy and a little bit blurry, and it really didn't matter because the net effect was just a series of patterns and shapes and colors, and that's what I was after. Again, a polarizer helps to saturate the colors. The other thing when you're out with a tripod, what I do is I shoot aperture priority. I'm using self-timer because every time you push the shutter on the camera, you're creating movement. So with a self-timer, the camera has time to settle down, so there's no camera shake. So everything in the image will be sharp. The other thing I'm doing, and it's automatic now, I do it all the time, on the tripod, I'm always holding the camera strap. Because if the wind's blowing and it's banging into the legs of the tripod, you're creating vibration. And again, you're going to get a shaky, blurry image. So you do everything you can to maximize the quality of a sharp image. And in this case, I took the shot, then I took one more insurance shot. Just as a note too, I always sort of advise that after you take the shot, whatever it was that called out to you, then step back, look around. It's called working the shot. You go to either side and see if you can maybe get a better shot than the one you just took. There really wasn't in this case, but if you're at the beach, it might be an interesting piece of driftwood that would form a nice foreground element. Anyway, that was this shot. It's one of my favorites and one I actually am able to sell a lot of. This next shot is of thistles in the foreground in front of some yellow aspen in the fall. At the time I took this, I had an exhibit at a gallery where the theme was going to be about watercolor. And I'm driving along and I see this from a distance and I pull over, and what I'm shooting here, like the other 2 images, it's just an abstract series of patterns, shapes, and colors. I like the dark element here with the darker thistles, as part of it, against the backlit yellow aspen. You can even see the fence post for the barbed wire up here. What I did in this case, again, I'm on the tripod, I'm middle aperture, and I focused on the thistles because I knew your eye would start there and that would have to be sharp. Because if it's fuzzy, even though the whole image is in a sense, but you want your eye to have a place to go to start getting you into the image. The background with the yellow, I used a polarizer. I knew I wanted to saturate the color there. If I didn't have a polarizer, there would be kind of a washed out bright yellow and you wouldn't get the contrast. I like the intense yellow and the little bits of green. Also, the wind was blowing like crazy. So again, the trees in the background are going to be moving, swaying, sort of an indistinct thing. So there's no point stopping down, trying to make it tack sharp because they wouldn't be anyway. What I wanted in this case was just patterns, layers, colors going on. And that was enough for me. And that's what was going on with the image. And again, on the tripod, as I mentioned before, I'm holding the camera strap in the wind so it's not banging against the legs and creating vibration. Anyway, you've got 3 images here, basically built around nothing but shapes, colors, patterns, and those are what makes for some fun, interesting photographs. So try that on your own. Go out and have fun. Thanks, and appreciate your watching. See you next time. My young computer-savvy assistant reminds me that it's really important to ask for likes and subscribes, but I would also love some comments below discussing what we're diving into and what you might want to see in the future. With all that out of the way, thanks for watching and thanks for your patience. See you next episode.